Hello and welcome to the Peugeot 308 electrified, so the E-308. This is based on Stellantis EMP2 platform, so there's a lot to love about that platform already. It just allows them to create a car like this. If you've seen the Peugeot 308 before, this looks very familiar. In fact, almost the same. So we have the same bold badge, the latest Peugeot badge on the front. We have the daylight running light, which is those fangs on the front, which looks very aggressive and also looks very Peugeot Lion-esque, which is really good. I think on the front, the only way that you know that this is actually electric is by looking at that green tab on the number plate. Apart from that, on the front, you can't really tell that it's electric. But yeah, it looks really good. I love the grille. I love what they've done with it. It's very minimalist, but at the same time, very Peugeot. Let's move over to the side. And whilst we're doing that, this is actually the GT version. There's also the Allure version. But with the GT version, you get a bunch of stuff in terms of styling, like the badging and stuff like that, which we'll go through when we get inside the car. But one of the beauty of having the electric car is this 18-inch alloys, which is actually designed for this so that it's aerodynamically friendly because it's an electric car. They want to maximize the range that you can get out of it. And then we'll move over to the side. We get the piano black side mirrors with indicator lights on there. The door handle doesn't pop out or do anything fancy, but that's completely fine. It's very smooth on the side, but where we get a little dink is right below here. It just goes in a little bit. Just gives it that a bit of a sporty look, which I quite like as well. And then it slopes just a tad bit, but not too much on the back. This is a hatchback, so at the end of the day, it's gonna have that stance that you expect from your hatchback. And then we get your charging points on the side here. Nice and easy. Again, nothing fancy in terms of opening it up and closing it up or anything like that. And this supports, it has an onboard 11 kilowatts charging capability, so you can charge it somewhat quickly if you get those accelerated 22 kilowatts charging points. Or this is also capable of 100 kilowatt DC charging as well. So you can charge this very quickly within half an hour. This is the Oakenite white version, and you pay extra to make it the sort of finishing and all that stuff. But I'll leave information as such in the description area. But here we get our 3 claws in terms of the LED lights on the back, which looks good. And we've got the GT badge in there as well. Bold Peugeot logo there. Again, the only way that you know that this is electric on the back is by looking at the E badge that's here. So that's something that Peugeot will be doing with all their electrified cars. We've got the green tab there as well. Kind of nice and not too low to the ground, just looks perfect, I think, with what they've done there. And then I think whilst we're at the back, let's have a look at that boot space, see how much we actually get in here. And it's nicely tucked away under this piano black bar on the back, which I was hoping that would be illuminated as well, but it doesn't light up. It's just the rear lights that does light up. So this is not an electronically controlled boot as well, so you have to open it manually yourself, first world problems. But here we get 361 litres of boot space. Obviously you get more if you fold the 60-40 split back seats. If you fold them down, you get more space. But what's great about this is you get a big, wide opening space, entry space, so it's easy to load things up. It's low enough to slide things in as well, so you have loads of shopping bags and stuff like that. You can easily load them in there. You can also open this bottom half here, which allows you to store your cables in there or anything that you're not going to access all the time. So you can put it out of the way, so you can maximize that space in there. And you also get this little hole in there, which I've opened up already, by the way. It doesn't stay like that, but it means you can feed longer items through there. So for example, a tripod or maybe a golf club, you can feed it through there and you're good to go. Or if you really want to get something from the boot whilst you're sat in the back, you can quickly access things. In the back seat, in terms of how premium it feels, that's no problem at all. Nice material in here in terms of, this is a GT trim level, so you do get the Alcantara finishing and stuff like that. So that's pretty nice. Good addition to have. You do get 2 USB-C ports here as well, so you can charge your devices. Good thing, the new iPhone 15 now has USB-C ports. So again, it just means that most likely your passengers are gonna have USB-C devices. So that's okay. If they don't, what can we do about it? In terms of space, you get a little bit of knee room, not the best here at all. You're sitting quite upright as well, with your knees kind of raised up higher. So again, sitting in this position for a long period of time might become pretty annoying very quickly. It's okay, it's not bad at all. But if you get a taller person in the front and they have to move their seat further back or anything like that, that can quickly become an issue. You do get enough space for your feet to be tucked in underneath the seat. You got a little net there to secure things like your magazines and stuff like that. There's a bit of a transmission tunnel here. I don't know why that's there, maybe because they've just taken away from the standard 308 to make this happen. But otherwise, I don't know. If you were to sit in that middle area as a middle passenger person, then you either have to put your feet on either sides, or if you put it in the middle, it's not comfortable at all. So it's not something that you want to be doing. In the middle, we have our armrest here as well, so you can sit your passengers can sit comfortably well, rest their arms. You got space to maybe put a phone or a tablet or something. Maybe not a tablet because it's not that big. There's also 2 cup holders as well, so either passengers can put their cups or bottles in there. It's kind of big as well, so you can put a decent sized cups or bottles in there. And like I was pointing out when we were in the boot, there's a little gap here that you can slide down and access things that are in there. So if you've forgotten your iPad in your bag, for example, you can probably access it through there and get it out and still be able to use it, lock it into place, and yeah, you're good to go. But that's pretty much it about the back seat. My only issue here is space. It's just not enough here. In the driver's seats, things are very familiar here. We have the compact iCockpit steering wheel, which has all the nice buttons on there to control things like your driver assistance and your volume control on media, phone calls, etc. You can even move this as well backwards and forwards, inside and out like so, to be as comfortable as you want to be. We have 2 10-inch displays, iCockpit displays. So the front one has this 3D effect on it, which you can also turn on and off. We've seen that before in Peugeots recently. And then this is all their new stuff, the new tech in terms of infotainment system and just the screens in front of us and instrument cluster. There's no head-up display in this one, unfortunately. That would be nice. And then we have the main display in front of us, which has the customizable eye toggles. So these buttons at the bottom here, we can customize that as we want. So for example, I'm on radio at the moment, so I can press and hold, say climate, if I want to change that. Press and hold that for a few seconds or so. I can then put one of the radio stations as my new shortcut. So that's customizable. So now every time, that's going to be BBC Radio 3 every time I need to go to that. And then we have our screen mirroring as well. So as standard, you get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well compatible, which is good. And then we have our home button on the right side, which means if I was on phone calls, for example, I can always tap home to go back to the home screen, and then I can slide across on the home screen to have a look at different things. Again, you can modify all this to suit your preference as you want. Oh, it's 11:11, make a wish. All right, let's carry on. And then we have our climate control buttons here in this piano style system here. So you can always access those without having to dig deep into the system at all if you don't want to. We also have reverse cameras around the car as well. So if I go to reverse, we can see the camera there. So we can see around the car, tap that to focus on which part of the car you want to look at. So nice and straightforward, again, nice and simple to use. No issues there at all, help you park comfortably well whenever you need to do so, including sound reactions as well, so sound effects. So if you're close to the thing, it will let you know when you're too close to it. Down in this area, you have your buttons, your gear shifter. You also have your brake button as well. So this will the B mode button, which allows for energy recuperation. Then you have your drive mode on here as well, which allows you to do between normal, sports, and eco. So sports just makes it a bit more responsive when you put your foot down on the accelerator. But I love this car in terms of the space here. I think you have around 34 liters of space in terms of storage in here, so you can store things. Inside of here, we have one USB-C port, and we can close that back up again. And then there's a space here to store our key, if you want to store your keys there. This cup holder here, you can put your cups in there like so. But if you have nothing in it, you can always slide over it just to hide things away if you want to do that. And then there's also another USB-C port here for screen mirroring if you want to plug it into your phone. And there's a 12-volt socket there and wireless charging mat just below the instrument cluster area there as well. So nice and straightforward, nice and cool. I think it's as premium as it comes, and you get a lot of stuff as standard. And in the GT version, you get the GT branding on the steering as well. Although in here it feels very cozy, what you do have is a sunroof here, which you can also open the slider, manually open the slider to get some light into the car. And then when you have more light in the car, it just makes it feel a bit more roomy. And you can also open the actual slide as well, so you can let some air in the car as well, like so. So, oof, it's nice and bright in here now. We love it. And yeah, that's pretty much it here. I think we should take it for a drive and actually see how this drives, because I've driven the normal 308, so it'd be interesting to see how the electric version drives. Before I actually get on the road, let's talk about some of the safety systems on here. So on the screen, we can go into the ADAS settings and we can see some of the numerous items on here. So for example, we have your close obstacle detection, we have rear cross traffic alert, we have lane keep assist, driver assist 2.0, automatic braking system, traction control, speed limit recognition, traffic sign recognition, driver attention alert. So yeah, you have plenty of stuff on here to make sure that you are safe. I mean, you should be safe as a driver, but you have plenty of option there for the car to help you stay safe on the road. Powering this is a 54 kilowatt hour battery, which is capable of doing up to 267 miles on the WLTP claimed range. If you're gonna achieve that in the real world, that's a different story. We don't have this long enough to be able to say this is how much we'll actually get. So maybe eventually we'll get one on long-termer and see if it actually can do that. But that's what they have quoted. So in terms of power, you're looking at 156 horsepower, so 115 kilowatts, which is, I think it's decent. I think that's a lot. You're looking at about just over 100 miles per hour top speed and 0 to 60 in around 9.8 seconds. Again, decent for this kind of car and people that this is aimed at. So it's got enough oomph to keep you, get you off the line and also keep up with the motorway traffic if you need to keep up on the far right-hand lane, although no one's going to be doing 100 miles per hour. So you do have all those things. Visibility-wise, I think it's pretty good in here. The only issue is if you have someone that's tall sitting in the back, so for example, I can see the camera guy through my mirror. If there was someone taller or someone sat in the middle, that's going to be an issue. You won't be able to see through the back there. So that's something to bear in mind. But otherwise, I think everything's nice and clear. I can see everything. Blind spot's good, no issues there at all. And we have B mode in here as well, which means I can regain some energy that's going to be lost during driving, so that's good as well. And we have our drive mode, so we can go from eco to normal and sports as well. So sports will get just a bit more responsive, but not, don't expect anything drastic, but it's there if you need to get yourself a bit excited and just put yourself in a sporty mood. But other than that, I love the way the steering is nicely weighted, which is my favorite thing. I think I'm not there yet to be looking for soft steering. I think I'm still quite young to appreciate every, nicely weighted steering. 270 Newton meters of torque, so it's not a lot of torque, so you don't really feel yourself pushed to the seat like you would in, say, an e-tron GT, for example, but that's a drastic comparison. You wouldn't really compare it to that. But yeah, you get enough torque in here. You can adjust the steering to fit and suit your drive style. But I think this is a perfect way to test the way that this handles as well, because these country roads are quite windy and bendy, which is really nice. So you can see the way you just, you point it to where you want to go and it goes there. So it's nice and agile. It's very, very nimble in terms of just pointing it there and it goes. So really good in that sense. And it fills you with confidence as well. So I'm approaching this corner, not that slow, and it's just nice. I'm not worried. Body roll wise, there's barely any body roll going through those corners. Again, really good. So it's nice and comfortable, handles the road very well. I think 0 to 62 could be better. I mean, that's just coming from me and that's just me being pedantic, but I think it's fine for most people. But yeah, the driving experience is really nice. I mean, look at this corner here, just easy does it, just no issues at all. I'm not even tapping the brake because I'm just confident that I'm okay and there's no body roll. I think they've done a really good job at road handling and just how comfortable this feels to drive, and anyone who buys this is going to fill them with confidence when they hit the road. If you're a current 308 owner and you're thinking of switching to the electric side, coming over to the dark side, you rest assured you're going to get good enough range. You also have that fast charge as well, fast DC, 100 kilowatt charging, DC charging. So if you find a fast charge point, you can quickly charge it up again if you're going to do that. But you will be saving money on the long run. This is going to set you back around £42,000, the GT trim level, which means you get just a tad bit more for it, but that's how much you're going to be spending on this. And you rest assured you're going to get a decent amount of range. Fast charge is there as well. Heat pump is actually there as standard as well, so you're not paying extra for that. So when it comes to the winter, you're not going to be losing out on range in terms of putting the heating on in the car. So it's got a lot of benefits to it. So in my head right now, I can't think of what to compare it to in terms of the pricing range, but I think for around £42,000, you are getting a lot for your money in terms of packaging. Well, obviously you don't have to go for the GT trim level. You can go for the Alert, which is slightly cheaper, but you'll be missing out on some details in terms of the design and detailing on here. This also has seat massage on the seats as well, but that's an extra if you want that on there. But otherwise, it's still pretty much comfortable and really good design on there. If you had to ask me if there are any drawbacks, I'll have to be really, really nitpicky in terms of drawbacks. So for example, again, just moving off the line is quite sluggish. So I put my foot down and nothing's really happening. It doesn't make me feel like, oh my God, I'm going really fast off the line. But it still does okay. The only area I see that becoming an issue is when you're trying to quickly join from a slip road, trying to join a traffic on the motorway, for example. It means you put your foot down and you're like, come on, do it. You can do it, that kind of stuff. But once you've built up momentum, it's really good. It just keeps up with the speed, keeps up with the road, and that's absolutely fine. But that will be my only drawbacks, really. Visibility is good as well, apart from if you have someone tall sat at the back. That's the only issue there. Braking is good as well, although it could be sharper, but it's nice and linear in terms of progressive, so you press it and it's really nice. But if you really want to slam your brake on, you can also do that. Brakes are quite good in this, but it could be just because it's a new car, who knows. But brakes are good. The tyres are good. Road noise, not so much. It's nice and minimal, so it's nice and quiet in here, quiet cabin, which I really like. There's no wind noise coming through from the mirrors and stuff like that. Sound system's good in here as well. Blast and tunes in here, really good to keep you nice and entertained on long journeys. Although when I drive electric cars, I quite like a podcast on and just have it nice and quiet, because what's the point in having an electric car if you're not going to take advantage of a nice, quiet ride as you drive through the countryside or on the motorway? But overall, I think it's really good. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any questions, drop them there as well, in case I've missed out anything that you have burning questions. You know, I may have missed those out, so drop them there as well. Let me know. But in the meantime, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like, and share as well. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.